Hey everybody, Portland Chess Shop back to bring you the chess action. And I just played like a bunch of games against a female grandmaster from Germany. Her name is Gisela Fischdick. Seriously, her name is Fischdick. So sucks to have her name, but she's a very strong player. Here's her profile. Marula is her name on ICC. Her name is Gisela Fischdick. She comes from Deutschland, the Germany, and she is a WGM. It's official, and she likes to play the Fischer Random chess, and so do I. So I've been playing a lot of Fischer Random lately. I think that it's pretty awesome. It adds a lot of new elements to chess. The pieces basically are scrambled. They're still castling. Endgames are similar, but openings are totally different. And she likes to play incredibly fast. We were playing 0-1, meaning that both players start with 10 seconds, and then you get 1 second increment per move, and that's it. So you're starting with like 10 seconds per game and getting 1 second per move, as I just said. But it's like really, really fast. So here's her Wikipedia article. Gisela Fischdick. She's actually pretty old. She's 57, which I was really surprised at. I mean, who plays rapid chess that's, you know, an old lady? She's the 21st ranked active female player in Germany, meaning that Germany has some pretty strong chess players considering they have that many female grandmasters. She won the Blitzschach, the fast chess championships in Germany multiple times because she is a speed chess fiend at 57 years old. And I beat her a couple times. I beat her 5 times. So why not show my victories and show none of my losses, right? So let's see. We'll jump forward. We only have 10 seconds per move, so, you know, I mean, She was really good. She like hardly ever blundered. I'm basically just gonna be showing her blunders, which doesn't put her in the best light. But she was basically incredible at this. But you know, I won a couple games, and I'm proud of that. So E4 is often good in Fischer Random, just like how it's good in regular chess. So I think I just led with that. In this case, it's actually really good because it lets out the queen and the bishop as well. So we'll just kind of jump forward. We're both bringing our knights out. Knights before bishops is a good proverb. And I decided to break open in the center. So it basically, I mean, sometimes the game's sort of played out where piece development was harmonious for me. Other games it played out where piece development was not harmonious. And that's kind of just the way it went. So here, small mistake, develops the knight. I was able to take here. She retreats. You can see that I had an advantage kind of early on in this game. Decided to push my pawn up. I wasn't totally sure what to do. Like, if you almost play a move and then you don't play another move, you almost run out of time because it's just that fast. You know, 10 seconds versus 9 seconds. So I did blunder the center pawn by accident by making this move. So she took it, and I developed the knight. She developed her queen. I played out my bishop. Just trying to develop all my pieces. And, you know, in some of my games, like when the bishops were in the corner, I wasn't really sure what to do. But when the bishops were more centralized, I played a little bit better. You know, I always play the knights towards the center and try to break open the center and get the bishops centralized if possible. Keep the bishop pair. You know, try to make exchanges to open up lines, create some tactics. So you can see the position's kind of good here. And I think I'm going to castle. That's how castling works in Fischer Random. It's pretty crazy. The king and the rook go to the normal squares that you castle afterwards in regular chess, except it doesn't really matter where the king and the rook started. And in order to do it, I take the king and I drag it all the way to the corner. But it kind of takes like, I don't know, it kind of felt like it takes an extra second to castle in this. But here I attack the queen, and I have a pretty good position here. I'm able to play b4, and I'm threatening to play c5, and she doesn't really have a plan for castling. She can't. I'm not sure if she could castle exactly in this position. It might be possible. I think the rook would just come around here. So she plays pawn up, but I'm saying, okay, c5 is going to be good, but I also want to get the rook on this file with her queen. So I do. Remember, we're both playing like, you know, 1 second per move. So pawn up, knight comes forward, attacking the bishop. Hey, if you like this video, please thumbs up it. That always helps me out a lot. So the knight is centralized, which is good. but I'm able to centralize my bishop, attacking the knight. So she exchanges. I take back with the queen. She comes out with the bishop, takes. And here I thought maybe she defended. She could castle in this position, which she does. So that's pretty good. I double the rooks, and I'm like, okay, well, I need to get to look for the king just in case. I'm down to 4 seconds for the game. You get 1 second increment, as I explained. She starts to play the pawn up, and the knight comes forward. And here, this is a good move here. I got to make a central break. When she was blockading this pawn, that means that you have a piece like right in front of the pawn. It was hard for me to break through, but now that I could push here, I'm going to start to have maybe some advantage. So she does check, but then she retreats with the rook, and she hung the queen. So, just a mistake. That's the only way really for me to win. And here she resigned. So that's, how I beat a female grandmaster in one game. Let's jump to the next. I beat her 5 times. We played a lot of games. Maybe 35 or more. So I played d4. I think I played it because the rook is, all the same line. So I like to maybe push those pawns because this pawn is already defended. Here we have one bishop in the corner and a queen in the corner. Whenever we have the bishops or the queens in the corner, I was always a little bit confused. Let's see what we do in this game. So I played this to sort of open up the queen, but I mean her bishop is also on the same line, not necessarily good. So she defends, and I started to centralize the knight. I wanted to break open the center. So we get an exchange, which is possibly favorable for me. I have a decent center in this position. And now I'm fianchettoing this bishop in a single move. But she takes the center, which is, horrific for me. So I lose my strong center. I could have just played knight over to really have a pretty strong control of the center. So takes, but I check her, and she plays king over because she could play c5, which I think would probably be better because this does seem a little bit vulnerable. I have 8 seconds versus 12. So she was, playing very fast throughout the match. She never ran out of time once, which means that she's really good at playing quickly. So that's how castling works. Look at that. Boom. They just flip around like that. I wanted to trade off the dark square bishops. I thought she would have some weaknesses on the dark squares. And she plays pawn up. Oh, she hung a rook. Very good for me. So after the exchange, well, actually, I mean, this is pretty good. Oh, it looks like, actually, in this position, my rook was hanging. But she did take it. I castled. My rook was still hanging. So I got pretty lucky in this position. But after this exchange, I win a rook and start to, I want to control the 7th rank. She develops the knight. And I control the 7th rank with my rook. She retreats the queen. And I double up. Now, she retreated the knight after I moved the bishop, and so I immediately wanted to takes, because I saw that tripling up with an Alekine's gun on the 7th rank would be very strong. So she defends with the rook, and I take a pawn before regaining on the 7th rank. And I got a checkmate. I had 1 second left. So that's game number 2 against my esteemed female grandmaster opponent. This is a shorter game. It's probably the best swindle that I had. So I played d4. Usually d4 and e4 are still really good moves in Fischer Random. And I really didn't have enough time to come up with something more creative, so I usually played one of those 2 moves. I played this move just to develop the bishop. So these types of positions I always was able to play pretty well because I'm going to play e4 and be able to, gain control of the center and develop a bishop, centralize the bishop with the same move. So that's the kind of position I like. So she develops the knight, but then I realized I could play e4 anyway. Oops, excuse me. So I develop and takes. Pretty good here. So centralize my queen this way. I like that. I didn't have to make any weaknesses by making any pawn moves. I was able to centralize my queen. She plays f5. I retreat the bishop. So here the knight's hanging, but I didn't take it. Instead, I castled. What the heck? Look at that. What? That doesn't really make very much sense, does it? This must be like a corrupt game or something. Look at this. There's a bishop here, and I castle through the bishop. And ends the game. Okay, that doesn't make sense. Let's say that is a scratch game, but apparently I remember that. I mean, I think I took and put bishop on g5. I don't know. There was a real game, but that wasn't it. Let's see. Have we seen this? No, we haven't. So I developed the knight towards the center, defend here, and now again I'm going to play d4. So this is a little bit similar to the opening I played last time. Not that you exactly get to choose your openings in this. So e4. I really like this when I can. When the bishop is on g1 or b1, I usually try to break with this type of move. So takes, bishop takes, and I take again with bishops towards the center. So she exchanged rooks, and I take back with the queen. She takes back with the bishop. Both have 11 seconds. I play pawn up, and now I'm going to develop the knight. She develops the queen. There's possibilities like if she moved this bishop, I'll try to pin her queen to the king. I don't know. It's played really fast. So in this position, white has some pretty strong centralized bishops, and the knights are pretty good too. They control some central squares. This knight has the possibility of coming to c5, which could be pretty good. This knight controls, sort of neutralizes some of the light squares that this bishop controls. This bishop is pretty weak. I think white's position is a little bit stronger here. Both players are pretty much prepared to queenside castle, which in this position means that the rook is just going to jump around and the king is going to stay in the same position. So, I'm actually black in this game. So yeah, I do prefer Grisella Fischdick's position. What a name. Okay, so queen to d2. Now this knight doesn't have possibilities of moving to that square. So I castle. She decides not to castle, which is kind of interesting. And moves the knight forward. So I play pawn up, and after takes. Now I also have centralized bishops. The position is pretty symmetric. She moves her queen to attack, and I decide to steal a pawn. She plays king up. She should really castle, I think. Just swing the rook over rather than playing the king forward. But I don't know. It's tough to castle. I don't know if she castled that much in her games. So the bishop moves to f4. That was something that I tried to do every time it was castle, but it didn't really help me that much. So she attacks the bishop. I retreat it. She takes back. Now I have the bishop paired. She does it. The bishop pair is, pretty good. So she's up 3 seconds. It's 12 seconds versus 9. The games are just so rapid. So she centralizes her knight. I think that makes sense. And I pin the knight to her queen. She moves her bishop such that my bishop is attacked. I exchange and then play pawn up. Now the rook is defending the knight. If the rook moves, then the knight could fall. I could maybe win a pawn. So I centralize the queen, after which she makes a mistake. I mean, this is move creates some serious weaknesses. A2 is falling, and her queen falls, and so the game ends. So, I mean, you got to win somehow. Let's see. So I beat her one more time. Let's check it out real quick, and then we'll call it a video. So thanks for watching again, and if you could thumbs up, I do appreciate it. So let's see. She had white. She leads with d4. I maybe would have led with e4 because of the rook, but I mean, it really doesn't matter. I played pawn up to develop the bishop in a single move. Defends the pawn, and I tried to control center as well. She takes this structure, which is often really good in chess, but in this position, the knights are a little bit awkward because this is the square where you want to put your knights, and it's going to take 3 turns instead of 2. If the knight was on g1, for example, it would take 2 turns. So it's going to take 3 turns. And I kind of like this. So I wanted to open up the position as soon as possible. I thought I had more chances in open positions. She could kind of grind me out in closed positions. So I decided to play pawn up 1 and then pawn up 2 to try to break the center open, which basically worked. So now I got that centralized bishop that I've been talking about, so I got to do that again. Both players have 11 seconds. I haven't developed any pieces yet, but she hasn't developed any either, so we had a lot of pawn moves so far. Develops the knight, I develop the knight, she develops the queen, I develop the queen. She moves the knight. Let's see, so I queenside castle. she doesn't queenside castle. I'm not even sure she knew how to castle. I mean, she's a great player. I think queenside castling's pretty good. She develops the knight. I develop the knight. Plays pawn up, and she develops her knight. Retreats the queen. Takes. Oh, she does castle. Okay, so she totally knew how to castle. So I have, a little bit of a weak structure, which she will attempt to exploit. But I come forward with the knight. Plays pawn up, and I saw that I could attack the rook of the queen, so I went for it. She plays check. I play king over. Moves the rook up, and I retreat the rook. Now, after pawn takes, my king is weak, but the position, all of a sudden, with the open d-file, is too open for her to really be able to exploit it. So she defends her rook. I exchange, and I want to trade off all the rooks. I see she doesn't have any more checks. She could take here, but I thought that I could open up some files, which is basically exactly what happened. So takes, and then takes, and I was able to exchange off the queens, up a piece. When exactly did I win the piece? I have 3 pieces against 3 pieces. Oh, there was a bishop here instead of a pawn. So I was able to win a whole piece when I attacked her queen, and she played that move. So I was able to win a piece. I knew I was up a piece, so I exchanged down to this bishop ending. And it takes me a little while, but I wasn't really going to lose this, or at least I definitely didn't want to. My plan, I know I have better control of all the dark squares, so I wanted to control some dark squares with the bishop and then move my pawns to dark squares. Pretty much move it really fast, 11 seconds against 6. So I got these pawns on dark squares. Now I don't have too much to worry about. Re-centralize the bishop, play a check, take in the center, and that's, took me a while, but I was able to maybe win some pawns. Yes, winning this pawn, and pawns turn into queen, so I started to push the a pawn, and that's the end of that game. So those are the 5 games in which I beat female German Grandmaster Grisella Fischdick. So thanks for watching, appreciate it, and until next time, play some chess.